this is our final module, and I knew exactly when I reflected on what I wanted to ask you about for this last module, because this is something that has been through stories told in the Three Principles community is attributed to you. And it really, really made an impact on me. It stopped me in my tracks. It totally threw me. And I saw it was the game changer. Like, it just impacted everything. It's actually the final title on my last module in my 6 and 12 week program, because it was so meaningful to me. But I'd love to hear you talk about it, because it was you that gave me the idea. So you, or not gave me the idea, but you that just stopped me in my tracks, basically. So the story is, Michael Neill tells the story that I think he was telling you about how well his clients were doing. They're really starting to see the inside out nature of life, the thought creative nature of life. And you sat with him and you said, that's wonderful. But Michael, do they know their God? Will you say a little bit about that? Because I'd love to hear you talk about that to us.
Yeah. So I think I related the story to Michael at lunch, but the actual story is again, out here in San Francisco Bay Area, I was meeting regularly with George and Linda Pransky. They were doing a lot of seminars. It was about a 2-year period of this collegial relationship, and then they left to move to La Conner, Washington, where they are now. So I was kind of the person, along with another colleague of mine here in the Bay Area now, sharing this understanding, so to speak. And George got wind that I'm kind of getting full of myself. So he did a seminar, and at the lunchtime, he said, "Mark, let's go to lunch." And I thought, oh, great, we're going to have a nice lunch together. And he said, and that's when he said to me, I've been hearing that you're really full of yourself about getting people to stop cocaine use, but do they know their God? And that hit me. That hit me. Because what came to me at that moment was, they've got so much more power than just accomplishing this little life task. There's so much that they are, and so much that I am. It just really, I just saw I am way more than thinking I can accomplish these tasks. I've got more power than I could even realize right now sitting here. And that shifted me. I think I relayed that story to Michael when he was talking about, his accomplishments too, but that's the original story. And it changed me, because you see, what started to wake up for me is that first, my ego was getting too big. I was thinking it had to do with me, rather than when I was meeting with my patients, that mind was guiding both of us, that it was bigger than me. The other thing was, oh my goodness, in a way, I was selling my clients short, because we were just trying to accomplish this one goal, rather than waking up with them, for them, their realizations of what they are truly a part of, what they truly are, the wisdom and intelligence they are a part of. And my work gained another depth from seeing that about people, that now when I look to people, I'm trying to wake up the wisdom that they are beyond what they're talking to me about. Whether it's anxiety, depression, whether I'm mentoring somebody who wants to coach at a deeper level, it's really about helping people see beyond their own kind of short-sighted ideas of what they need to feel better. and to wake up really the consciousness that they are, the consciousness that they are mind. Sid would say you're God. But again, Sid found that when he shared that people are God, it got people thinking their beliefs about what that meant. And he was able to be clearer when he brought it as mind. But that jarred me. That really jarred me to drop. It's about me rather than into I'm blessed to have just found this and been able to share something with people that they're getting better. And there's just so much more to us that I am not seeing, that I really want to speak to and find for myself and for all of my clients, you see. So that was a big one that opened up for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so funny, isn't it? You hear the words and you hear them differently. I'm so glad I asked you, because I never, you kind of think what lands with you is what you meant, and it isn't. So like how I heard that, and how it was a game changer for me was I don't know, probably I wouldn't have the right words for this, but for me it was a seeing of the absolute oneness of everything.
Mm-hmm.
But like, instead of this me like neurotic little wandering around trying to struggle and figure out my life, do you know your God was like when this disappears and there's just a beautiful feeling of connection and oneness and simple happiness, is like, you're not this little tiny thing made of thought, this personal self. In fact, what you're looking for is a knowing of this, that you already are part of, not even part of, you are it, all of it. And the feeling of that, and then the recognition that you know that feeling, and you felt that feeling on and off for your whole life, like the feeling of when all ideas of yourself fall away, every time you're busy doing something, every time you're enjoying a sunset, every time you're listening to music, every time you're in a good mood for no reason at all. It's because your ideas of yourself, your made up ideas of yourself have disappeared, because they were only ever made of thought. And you just have an experience of what really is, rather than what you think is life.
Yeah.
And those moments are so precious, but they're like the gold dust of human experience. Like, life doesn't get better than the knowing of that feeling. And it, to my mind, it's what everybody's looking for. And they don't realize that they already are that. That's built in. It's yeah, we can help you work out your psychology. Yeah, we can help you have fewer panic attacks. Yes, we can. And I know that's all that you want right now, is just make them be gone, make them be gone. And this conversation can be incredibly helpful and practical. It can help you figure out how to, so that you can, I don't know, do what you want in your work or your business or with your health and all the rest of it. But I know that's what you think you want. But at some point, when it just, it's just the you're selling, like you said, you're selling your clients short in a way, because there is this, and this is the game changer. Like, the seeing of this changes everything. And it is when clients come to you and they just want one little thing, and by the time they leave, they've found everything. They didn't even know it was on offer. But that's actually what they were looking for. I don't know, that's my terrible articulation of it, but it's the feeling of oneness. It, to me, is, do you know yourself to be God?
So that's beautiful what you shared. And again, when I was hit by that, it changed the way that I worked with people, in the sense of, I wasn't working on the complaints. I was working to wake up what's beyond that, what they truly are, and wake that up. And once that wakes up as an insight for people, they're at another level of consciousness. They see life from a more wise, a positive place. Sid simplified it for me anyhow. I mean, he didn't attempt to simplify it, but it simplified my understanding that I'm God and mind, to know that it's the feeling of love and understanding. That energy is pure love and understanding, contentment. And really, you lose a sense of yourself in those true feelings. And so that helped, for my being able to live more with the feeling of that, to know to go toward love and understanding. But the power of really being hit, that it's nice that, maybe you could talk to people where they are no longer worried. But when you imagine that they could live life grander than they could ever imagine, or you could, and have feelings like you described today, and live in those feelings, and be guided by the intelligence of mind, they could live that way. It's nothing then. There's no accomplishment then if they just got less worried because of your work, you see? Because what people need to live in is the fact that they're guided in life by being mind, by being guided. There's an intelligence Sid shared with us that will guide us. What will it guide us to? Happiness, well-being, love, and understanding. And I think I also heard our own way of living in this life, our own purpose for being here in this life. And Sid said, you'll never figure that out. You have to believe that you are God. You just have to believe it. You'll never, ever understand that intellectually. But just to be pointed in that direction, like what you shared, it just dropped all of my thinking about myself and trying to get myself better. It's just to try to wake up a deeper sense of life. Listen for that guidance. Know that I have wisdom, and everyone in my life and in the world has wisdom too, because they are these spiritual energy that we're calling mind or God. And I'll never forget, there was a conference in Hawaii, Sid's talk in Hawaii for 3 days. And at that time, Roger Mills, one of our colleagues who had brought this into communities, had gotten a position at a university for a psychologist, a practical psychology program. And he brought people from that program, the dean of the program, several supervisors, all psychologists, And so they're sitting there, and Sid is ready to get started. I thought, I'm interesting how he's going to speak to the psychologist in the room. And he started off with, well, the first thing I saw was, I'm God. I thought, oh God, I'm thinking, oh my God, what a way to start with psychologists in the room. But it really taught me, I really saw that you have to go for it.
Yeah.
You have to bring people to the truth. Now, he really felt that. Like, I couldn't sit up in a seminar with psychologists and start there because I didn't feel it. But he helped me see to go with what I feel. Don't limit it because of the kinds of people that you're speaking to. And it really hit people.
Yeah.
So.
And I love what you were saying last time as well about people like, how do I share this? How do I talk about this? How do I bring this into a group of businessmen, or how do I bring this into a group of lawyers, or how do I talk about this with, and my kind of feeling when I get asked that is like, how could you not? Like, how could you sell them short, right? Like, to me, it's the Well, one of the lovely things about being in the principles, I think, like being in this conversation, is that your idea, like your worries about what other people think about you, fall away, start to fall away, for starters. So you just are more able to show up and share what you really, with your heart, know to be helpful, or that you feel like moved to share. And for me, it really is the game changer. It's, I guess, before I bumped into this conversation, I had this whole life of, if it's to be, it's up to me, and very busy and very successful and very driven and very focused and very go-getting and very high achieving. And when I burnt out and bumped into this conversation, it was like someone opened a door to this whole hidden realm that I didn't know was there. Like I had no idea. Like I'd bumped into friends of mine that had been religious over the years, and I'd gone and done an Alpha course to go and check it out, but my mind had gone, no, does not compute, doesn't make rational sense. And so I'd kind of closed the door on what was being pointed to there, and which I guess so many people do when they hear that word, God, like they have their own stories and history of it. But for me, it was like all of a sudden this door opened into this massive void of nothingness down there, right? Like in my mind, down there. Like, what's that? Right? And it's like, oh, that's you, that is. Like, what? But I was so bored, I guess, of trying to figure out everything above the surface and run the show. I guess when I saw, like, when it happens, you'll be taken care of, it was like I fell through the trapdoor. Because first I saw, like, when it happens, you can take care of it then. And then my friend who was sitting with me said, no, Nick, when it happens, you'll be taken care of. And that was the moment of falling through the trapdoor, right? And like, I've got goosebumps now. But that, when this sounds so nuts, but like when I re-emerged back out into my life above the line, it was different. And every time I like fell into that space and came back out and looked around at my relationships and my life and my work, it changed. And so I saw the value, like that to me, that's why it's a game, like it literally changes the game above the line. It's the game changer.
Yeah.
To go explore in that direction and see that is where your feeling of home comes from, because it's like your edges disappear and you become that space below the floor. But you are it. So when people say, what, or how would I introduce that topic? It's like, what are you going to do? Like cover over the trapdoor and not let them in? It's like the best room in the house. Like I'm looking for any opportunity and opening to, hey, come over here. There's a trapdoor, and you're never going to believe what's down there.
Well, I love that. I just love what you're sharing. And again, just to be of service to people who want to share this. Like you may not go into a group of attorneys or business people and start with, hey, do you know your God? You sit in that. You're the one who sits in knowing this.
Yeah.
And when you sit in knowing this, one simple way of saying it is the people that have called you in, that you're meeting with, have the wisdom already to know how to handle what they're asking you to do. And you're trying to bring that out. But you sit in knowing they have this connection that is like beyond any form, that will guide them. See, you sit in knowing that, and that will help you talk in a way that could be helpful, really. It isn't that you start there. You really want to be able to, develop your rapport as you do and make your connection, but you have to sit in that knowing. When you sit in that knowing, that clears all of your assumptions and all of your insecurities. And all you're about is trying to speak to that. You're just trying to speak to the wisdom beyond their insecure words. And Sid always said that, when particularly when we were in a small group meeting, say, I'm not speaking to you, Mark, or to you, Dickon, or to you, so and so, I'm speaking to beyond you, to what you are, to your consciousness. And so what we're talking about today, about this statement about you are God or they're God, and why are you taking credit for such a small accomplishment, given that they're God? You sit there. You sit knowing that if they could wake up some of that wisdom, they'll be guided. The other piece is when you're there with that task, if you quiet down about you and sit in the knowing that you are mind and so are they, and you are this intelligence, you'll be guided while you're in that meeting. You'll be guided to ask questions, or you'll hear something with curiosity, or you'll hear something profound to say. So it's this, it just wakes up when you realize you're more than these kind of simple things you're troubled about, that you really are the spiritual energy that has the wisdom for you to be guided in your life toward to our positive, contented life. And also it will give you the guidance to handle your relationship, to handle your parenting, to handle your work, if you quiet down enough to listen. So I just wanted to end sharing that with people too, as we've talked about what we truly are a part of.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's beautiful. Beautiful note to end on. Thank you, Mark. I'm glad I asked you about that. A, to clear up where the story came from, actually, but B, to hear what that meant to you. That was lovely.
Yes, and what it meant to you. It was beautiful to hear what it meant to you, because you're speaking from the same feel of it,
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.